Good evening. This is March the 28th, 2014, CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is day number 13 in week number 7. Not enough power. It's okay. Wow, he comes back. If you look at this particular week, if you look at this particular week's topic, particularly day number 13, the topic is topic number 4, information fraud. Okay? Information fraud is a typical phenomenon in today's world when different hackers would like to make the best use of this trick to trick for your private information. Normally, we experience several times this particular week for our university website. Emails sent on behalf of the email center saying that your email usage has already exceeded the quota. And in order to extend that, you need to come to this link, register again by entering your user ID and password. Guess what? A lot of people did that. Okay? Information fraud, example of this. Now, to help you get ready for the discussions today, let me give you about 1.5 minutes start video on internet fraud. That means the fraud produced by people in the World Wide Web to fish for information for some kind of purposes, you know that.
It stands to reason that with the increase in internet usage, online fraud would also increase, but as Teresa Lalonde explains, the scale of that increase may surprise you.
The numbers are alarming. A 77% rise in internet scams since 2005, 40,000 complaints last year alone, and $59 million in losses. These scams aren't coming in as random emails to your junk category. They're crafted by people who get to know you online. They know whether you have asthma or diabetes. They know the names of your friends and their email addresses.
People who have fallen victim to these things need to be reassured that the scams are very sophisticated, crafted specifically for them.
If you've put your resume on a standard job-seeking site, you could be a target. If you've talked about weight loss or diabetes on your Facebook status update or Twitter feed, that information could be used to sell you bogus cures. And watch for investment opportunities looking like they're from people you know, but they aren't.
There's a scam for everyone.
Top frauds include job scams, health claim scams, fake business opportunities, and purchasing scams.
If you're involved with a small and medium-sized enterprise, know that you will be called and you'll be targeted to pay a fake invoice, to purchase online advertising.
Now, besides ditching the smartphone, unplugging the computer, and going back to the days of snail mail, what can you do? Essentially question everything you receive online. Don't click on links unless you really know who they're from. And don't get sucked into what looks like a great job or deal. The Competition Bureau website has more information on that. Teresa Lalonde, CBC News, Vancouver.
This 1.5 minutes video, it's a report from the broadcasting company in Canada, but they are reporting on the incidents of the internet fraud, which is quite typical all around the world. Have you ever experienced some? I've given you some examples of email account fraud. People just want to get your private information, and through that, they can take advantage of you. Now, do you have personal experience of information fraud? Do you remember, is it from this class or the other day? One summer, one of your friends said, I want to apply for a job. So I sent a CV to a particular job site, right? And they took my CV and they published somewhere else on my behalf. And that may be one way to use your identity for something else. Okay, but you do not know much about the picture, except that you know that you discover your CV is posted somewhere else in the internet. For what purpose? You may not know. Okay? So this is an example of information fraud. Could you remember one specific instance of information fraud they talk about in this news? Do you have any impressions? What example do you remember most? Do you remember? Do you want to watch it again? Yes, that is a very good suggestion. Just 1 minute and 46 seconds.
It stands to reason that with the increase in internet usage, online fraud would also increase, but as Teresa Lalonde explains, the scale of that increase may surprise you.
The numbers are alarming. A 77% rise in internet scams since 2005. 40,000 complaints last year alone, and $59 million in losses. These scams aren't coming in as random emails to your junk category. They're crafted by people who get to know you online. They know whether you have asthma or diabetes. They know the names of your friends and their email addresses.
People who have fallen victim to these things need to be reassured that the scams are very sophisticated, crafted specifically for them.
If you put your resume on a standard job-seeking site, you could be a target. If you talked about weight loss or diabetes on your Facebook status update or Twitter feed, that information could be used to sell you bogus cures. And watch for investment opportunities looking like they're from people you know, but they aren't.
There's a scam for everyone.
Top frauds include job scams, health claim scams, fake business opportunities, and purchasing scams.
If you're involved with a small and medium-sized enterprise, know that you will be called and you'll be targeted to pay a fake invoice, to purchase online advertising.
Now, besides ditching the smartphone, unplugging the computer, and going back to the days of snail mail, what can you do? Essentially, question everything you receive online. Don't click on links unless you really know who they're from. And don't get sucked into what looks like a great job or deal. The Competition Bureau website has more information on that. Teresa Lalonde, CBC News, Vancouver.
Have you got some idea? What have you captured? Including when you post a resume there, you see that they use an examples like this. And normally in the resume, we put some of the private information there, for example, your hobbies, your home address, your contact phone number, whatever it is. And when it is there, people can make use of this information and call someone. Maybe in your list of experience share, for example, you can work in a particular company, they can easily find the number of that company because they have your resume, they got your name, they call the company and say, I am a friend of this guy, maybe he or she is digging up more information about you. Okay? And then, remember they say there would be the scam on jobs. They may say, oh, we are a company who have just received an application of job from this person. We are calling in to see if you can provide a reference of that person. Could you connect me to the supervisor of this person? According to the resume, she said they have done something like this. Social engineering, isn't it? Isn't it? Because he has your resume. He has some data related to your work experience, right? And the company will believe, oh, it's legitimate, and he's applying for a job, he's calling, and then when we hook up to a colleague of her, hey, say some good words about her. And then they actually digging in, right? And this is a typical example of using real data for maybe bad purposes, okay? And the other example is the business opportunity. In a town like Macau and Hong Kong, a lot of people come here to do business. And particularly, there is a business called agency, broker. If I do not know who I'm going to connect, I call it broker's firm. And from the broker's firm, they are willing to connect me with related businessmen, right? So through that, I got a lot of information about people, and then I'm trying to set up a legitimate hacking business remembered video here. I call a particular company registered in Malaysia with all the capitals among this and all the legitimate things because we want people to believe you're a legitimate businessman. Information fraud. A lot of things like this happen. Okay, you got some idea now. Let's go for something more interesting. On-the-job scam. On-the-job scam. Let's go for part one. You're looking for a job.
Good evening and welcome to Dateline. I'm Ann Curry. For months now, many Americans have watched helplessly as their jobs and bank accounts have vanished. And too many are falling prey to scam artists who promise easy money in these desperate times. Well, Chris Hansen now investigates how to help you steer clear of these dangers that could trigger even greater financial disaster. Chris?
Thanks, Ann. We've investigated a number of scams where you feel badly for the victims, but you kind of wonder, didn't they see this coming? Well, when you see this, you may instead think, gosh, that could have been me. The scam is smooth, complex, and given these tough times, devastating to the people it ensnares.
Another major sell-off on Wall Street.
The headlines seem to get worse every day.
The Dow was down to 1997 levels.
The economy in a nosedive.
We have lost 3.6 million jobs in this country.
Unemployment at record highs.
First-time claims for jobless benefits surged by 7%.
And in the middle of it all, internet criminals are now targeting people desperate to find jobs. Officials warn the scam is spreading nationwide.
One day.
Often with devastating consequences for honest, hardworking families.
I give you a pair of good glasses.
Carol Browning is a single mom, raising a son, a daughter, and a granddaughter. She has a full-time job, a house in a nice neighborhood, but now she's at risk of losing it all.
And I try not to let them see what I'm going through or see me crying or worrying about it. But
that's gotta be stressful.
it is.
Carol got caught up in one of the biggest scams sweeping the country. As you listen to her story step by step, ask yourself, would you have done anything differently? It all began just before Christmas when Carol was searching online for ways to make some extra money. She spotted an ad for what sounded like a perfect part-time job.
And they were saying, do you like shopping? Be a mystery shopper.
Do you like shopping?
Yeah.
Mystery shoppers are paid by retailers to test whether sales staffs are polite and helpful.
Okay, thank you.
So Carol signed up online, and before long got this letter with instructions. It all looked legit. A company name, Mystery Shoppers PLC, an address in New York City, even a toll-free number she had to call for training before she could start. Her assignment? Shop at a local Walmart to test how helpful the staff is. Then, evaluate the service at Western Union by wiring money to another mystery shopper in a different state. The amount to transfer? Just over $3,000. The company told Carol she didn't have to worry about the money. They'd send a check, enough to cover her shopping trip to Walmart, that big Western Union transfer, and her pay for doing the job. In all, a check for $3,850. Did you wonder for a minute, maybe, how could this be too good to be true?
I did.
Carol got the check all right, but she was cautious. So before she did anything else, she said she took the check to a teller at her local bank.
She read it. And she told me, yeah,
Good to
that's
go.
good. You can get access to your money tomorrow. And I said, you sure? She said, yes, it's not 7-day-old money. She said, no, it's clear.
Thinking things were on the up and up, Carol followed the instructions. She deposited the check, withdrew the money from her account, went to Western Union, and wired $3,100 to a company contact in Kansas. Everything seemed fine until a week later, when Carol says she tried to fill up with gas. Her debit card linked to her personal checking account was rejected, so she tried an ATM nearby.
And it wouldn't because they said insufficient funds.
Insufficient funds?
This was only for $20.
So you had nothing in your checking account?
Nothing.
Turns out that big check was no good. Even though Carol thought she checked it out, even though her bank gave her the money, it turned out to be a sophisticated counterfeit. And you may be surprised to learn that in cases like that, a bank can still reverse the deposit and hold you responsible. And that's exactly what was happening to Carol.
Pulled the account up and told me that I was overdrawn $3,500 and some dollars, and I said, what?
That's a lot of money.
My life just turned upside down because, I couldn't do no cry. And I asked the man in the bank, I said, check again because this can't be real. He said, yes ma'am, the check been recalled and you got to cover the check.
In effect, Carol hadn't wired the company's money, she'd sent her own, draining her bank account. And the bad news got even worse. The bank said the regular checks Carol had already written for her mortgage, her car, her utilities, all were bouncing. What's more, when her weekly paycheck from her regular job was direct deposited in her account, the bank seized it to help pay off the debt.
I was just devastated. I was just trying to figure out what am I going to do? How am I going to come up with this?
What did you do when you got home that night?
I got some of my jewelry, my rings and bracelets. I took them to pawn shop and I pawned them.
We wondered, with so many people out of work nowadays, how many cases like Carol's are out there, how much money is being stolen, and who's behind the job scams that are cheating Americans looking for honest work. Join us as we go online and undercover, applying for jobs, and taking you inside the scams. Coming up, a single mom who thought she found a great job online, a payroll clerk. When you print these checks, did they look real?
Yes, they do. I have one. In your name, would you like to see?
And Promises continues.
Okay, you have just watched the first episodes of this story, which was documented and produced on NBC. Okay? The interesting thing about this is, you remember what happened to the lady who believed who has found a very good job for her to earn some more. What did she discover online? A job ad, right? Which is online, which discover it's a very interesting job ad which is called Shop to be Paid. That means you go shopping and you will be paid. Wow, see, it's good. I just have people shop around and I can be paid. Which is not new. Actually, it's a very good job for many of the people in Hong Kong. A lot of the mainland immigrants in Hong Kong. Do you study the story which is produced by Hang Chang several weeks ago? They're actually living on a business, on a job, which is to help the mainland tourists anywhere distributed in the countries to buy things in Hong Kong. And they will bring the things back to Shenzhen and use courier to send them back. And they got money paid for that. Well, to what I understand, it is a legitimate job, it's working fine. Okay? You are doing a job helping people to buy things and to be paid. Some of these will have the money first from the people who want to buy something. Some of these, because they have a trust relationship, they will pay them first, and by the time they send this to this person to read it, and it's the customer, they will have money deposited into their bank account inside China. So they're doing something like that, they're earning money. But look at it, that is a different story. That is a story, it's a trap, it's a scam, it's a trap. So I put an ad there. I'm fishing for someone who wants this job, and I'm going to give some scripts to that person first. You go to buy something from me, and then you will pay for that, and then continue to buy something, you will pay. Until one day, you discover that it's a trap within a trap. You use your bank account to receive the payment, and you use the bank account to withdraw money to pay for the thing you buy. And what you do not know, according to this story, is you do not, or you did not overdraft your account. You know that, but your account was overdrawn until the bank informs you for some reasons which surprised the lady. $3,800 US, which is how much in the Paris? A lot. Close to 40,000 Paris. 20 to 30,000 Paris. Because of the very sensitive information of the banks in terms of the actions overdrawn, and somehow the lady signed some kind of contract that allows the hacker on the other side of the world to be able to manipulate her bank account. And she is not going to be informed until action was taken. That means money has been drawn. What happened? She has to repay the bank for that overdrawn money, right? And then all of the goods bought already on the other side, and she has to repay. And instead of earning money, she has to have a lot of debt on her back. Job scam number one. Okay? Do you got an idea? Do you understand how it works at this point? No, you don't, but you know the consequences. Okay? Because a lot of details are not included in this video. So, job offer from internet criminals, and it happens that many people fell into this kind of scam. Second one.
We're on the trail of thieves using legitimate websites to cheat Americans desperately searching for jobs in an ailing economy. The scam? Pretend you're a real company, advertise jobs online, and send the new hires big checks and give them a reason to send some of the money back by Western Union. What the victims don't know is they are actually transferring their own money to the thieves, because those checks they've deposited into their accounts may look real, but they're really fakes. And when those counterfeit checks bounce, innocent people like Carol Browning, who thought she just landed a real job, are left holding the bag for thousands of dollars.
You just turned my life upside down.
So who are the crooks? And how do they wind up with the cash?
Thanks for the opportunity to work for your business.
With the help of volunteers, Dateline starts applying for fake work-at-home jobs. We go to well-known websites all across the country, including MySpace Jobs, Simply Hire, and Job Planet. And we discover the scammers placing fake ads, stealing the names of real companies to look legitimate, pretending to be companies like Genentech, a cutting-edge biotech firm, Staples, the office supply powerhouse, even Goldman Sachs, a Wall Street giant.
Sounds very prestigious.
Before long, we're hired by some of the fake companies. And the scammers start sending us money orders and checks. But phone calls to the real companies confirm that checks are counterfeit. So where are the counterfeits coming from? Dateline discovered the scammers actually recruit innocent people like Debbie Perry to do their dirty work by hiring them as so-called payroll clerks. The jobs may sound legit, but they're really part of the scam.
This is the reason you called me, this check.
Debbie is a single mom from Ohio, and she has an incredible story about how crooks tricked her into writing and sending some of the counterfeit checks. It began when she met a man online, called himself Jackson Rowland, and sent her this picture. And before long, he offered her a part-time job.
He says, I have a job offer, and it's doing payroll for my company. And I says, oh, I don't know anything about payroll. I've never done that before. He said, well, it's easy.
The first step, go to the local office supply store and buy a popular business check writing program called VersaCheck.
And then you get a VersaCheck printer and VersaCheck paper. You know they're priced to the penny.
So you got the feeling he had done this before.
You know, I thought, well, he's legit.
Debbie already had a regular job, but this was a chance to earn extra money in her spare time to put her son through college. So every week, her online boss would send her a payroll list with the names of people who were supposed to get what she thought were legitimate checks.
Now I'm going to enter the routing number.
So let me get this straight. He would give you the routing numbers and the account numbers.
The routing number, the account number, the bank name.
And what about the signature?
He emailed it to me.
Debbie showed us how the check writing program lets you take a copy of a signature and insert it right on the check.
You attach that to the chat program, and it comes out like that.
And when you print these checks, do they look real?
Yes, they do. I have one in your name. Would you like to see?
I would. In mine.
Yes, I printed one for you.
Chris Hansen, $5,000. These look really real.
They look like a real check, and they even have a watermark on them.
That's amazing. And in the beginning, you thought this was legitimate.
Oh yeah, I thought it was legitimate because he had the signature and everything.
So Debbie began sending the checks out by FedEx and UPS all across the country, not knowing they were headed to people who were targets of the scam.
How many checks do you figure you sent?
Probably about 500 or 600.
500 or 600?
Mm-hmm.
Did you keep those receipts?
I have them all.
Can I see them?
Mm-hmm. Here, this is how many I sent. That's nothing.
And how long did this go on?
That went on for a couple months before I realized what was going on.
Looking back, Debbie says she feels guilty she didn't figure it out earlier, but she finally got suspicious and quit. But not before the scammer, who calls himself Jackson Rowland, had tricked her into sending out the same sort of counterfeit checks that fooled Carol Browning and thousands of other people looking for jobs. And where is the scammer? Dateline showed Debbie how to trace his emails.
In Nigeria.
Nigeria, a place where scams are so common, was even a music video mocking gullible Americans. Turns out, thieves from Nigeria, likely operating out of an internet cafe like this one, had turned Debbie Perry into an unwitting puppet. We don't know how many people fell for the scam, but in all, Debbie sent out more than $750,000 in counterfeit checks. And she's not alone.
How many other Debbies do you think are out there?
Hundreds. In every state, I think he has a handful.
That is a typical scenario.
The nation's top cyber cop, Sean Henry at the FBI, says the troubled economy makes it that much easier for thieves to trick people desperate for work.
It sounds like these overseas scammers have to have, obviously, these puppets here in the United States to carry out their schemes.
And that's where innocent people can be victimized, where they believe that they're moving money for a legitimate company, and in fact, they're an unknowing part of a conspiracy.
The scammer, Jackson Rowland, does most of his talking online. Debbie also has a phone number for him. We're about to see what a thief, likely using somebody else's photo and hiding somewhere in Nigeria, has to say for himself.
This is Debbie.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, Jackson? Jackson, my name is Chris Hansen. I'm an investigative reporter here in the United States. I want you to explain yourself to me. It appears that you're involved in a check scam online.
No.
Jackson? Maybe hung up?
The question, can Dateline beat the scammers at their own game? Can we follow the money and stop it before it gets into the thieves' hands? Coming up, how much money do you owe to the bank?
I personally owe probably around $1,900.
He's a victim, but all is not lost. Dateline targets the thieves who targeted him. Promises continue.
Think and recall, what did the woman do to collaborate with the hacker, the scammer, to do what? Money laundering? Sending a check to people is nothing big. I just help sending a check to people. And that person is going to cash the check from the bank. What's wrong? What's wrong here? Do you see the point here? What's wrong? The woman did not find out there was something wrong. She's been doing it for several months, and all of a sudden, she discovered that there got to be something interesting. What triggered her curiosity to discover that something interesting, and eventually she stopped doing it? Fortunately, this woman does not seem to be hurt in terms of mental stress or financial stress. It's just being used as a tool to help do something which does not seem to have any problem. But does it really mean there's no problem? When you try to type the routing number, all these are private information, real information, stolen somewhere. And she's trying to use it to type in a check. And when the check was produced, it looks and it really feels like a real check. Can the check be cashed in the bank? That's it, cash in the bank. Does the woman need to find out? Or what is the woman supposed to do? Do you remember? She needs to type in something. Use the computer program to produce a check for someone. When the investigator reported Chris Hansen to look at the check, oh, it's a check for me. It's Will. What does it mean? It's a fake check. Okay. Yeah. Any other ideas? Do you discover what's wrong here? Are you involved with something similar in your daily life? Are you doing something which you believe it's okay, but you have not discovered anything like this yet in the intellect? Every day there is something new and we may not notice it. Okay? So, let me pray you the last episode. I hope you got some idea. Let me invite you to go and watch it again. Discover. That's the key. Okay? Inquiry-based learning. Alright?
We've seen how online scammers are using phony ads for jobs and counterfeit checks to trick people into sending their own hard-earned cash to thieves overseas. The question, can Dateline actually stop some of the thieves in their tracks?
People in the world are always out there to make a buck.
Michael Montgomery is a business major about to graduate from Arizona State. The son of an attorney, he never thought he'd fall for the fake job scam. But with money tight, Michael was looking for a part-time job to help pay for college. So he posted his resume on Yahoo Hot Jobs in Phoenix. Before long, he got this email offering what sounded like a perfect job he could do from home. A big-time outfit, Compact Computers.
I knew Compact Computers, I knew they're an actual company, so I thought it was legit.
After an online interview with the personnel manager, a man named Scott Nash, Michael was hired to be kind of an online accountant, someone who would help enter data to help Compact keep track of its books. He was told to set up a personal checking account at a Wells Fargo bank. That way, the company could direct deposit his pay and even transfer money to cover his expenses.
Bart wasn't using any of my own money, so it sounds like it's not going to hurt me, so...
What's the problem?
Exactly.
Instead of sending him one of those counterfeit checks, the scammers had an even more ingenious plan. Telling Michael they had transferred $1,900 directly into his bank account. He was supposed to use some of it for expenses, but was told to forward most of the money by Western Union to a supposed computer supplier, send him equipment he'd need for the job. Sure enough, when Michael goes to the bank, the money's there, just like the company promised. So he withdraws it, goes to Western Union, and wires away more than $1,700 cash. Turns out Michael had just fallen for a frightening new version of the job scam. He just helped rob someone else's bank account. How did it happen? The thieves had hacked into another account at the same bank, transferred the stolen money electronically into Michael's account. And to get their hands on the cash, they tricked him into sending it to them by Western Union. Michael had become what authorities call a money mule.
Basically laundering money through an account online.
But it gets worse. When the bank discovered the fraudulent transfer, they reversed it and demanded that Michael pay the money back, just like they would with a counterfeit check.
So as we sit here now, how much money do you owe to the bank?
I personally owe probably around $1,900.
Michael thought his money was long gone. A college student looking for an honest job left holding the bag for a gang of thieves. What Michael didn't know was that Dateline had been working for months, trying to track down where money like his was going. In fact, when we answered online ads, we ended up with the same fake job, even the same fake boss as Michael did. The scammer told us to wire the money to a woman in North Carolina. Her name is Linda Merritt.
You will be getting at least 3 or 4 transactions daily.
She thought she just landed a real job as a so-called transfer agent for a big company. But Dateline told Linda we thought it was a scam. And when we spotted the name of her online boss, the same Scott Nash, we knew we were on the right trail.
Says transaction set.
We were watching as the scammer gave Linda one of her first assignments. Pick up money, then forward it overseas to an address in, well, you guessed it, Nigeria. But you'll never guess who the money was coming from.
Michael Montgomery.
That's right. Dateline had been there behind the scenes with Linda the day the scammers originally tricked college student Michael Montgomery into wiring money. Now, the same scammers were sending Linda to Western Union to pick up that money and forward it to them. The last key step in the money trail.
Thank you very much.
Linda picks up the money all right, more than $1,700. But instead of forwarding the money to Nigeria, Linda starts asking her boss some questions.
And I need to make sure that it is not a scam before I forward the money.
When Linda refuses to send the money, it sets off a flurry of angry emails and phone calls from the thieves. Ironically, the scammers accused Linda of stealing their money. They even threatened to call the FBI. But this time, it's the scammers who've been scammed. Linda is giving the money to Dateline to return to Michael.
Well, I got something for you, Michael.
Here you go.
Thank you. All the money out of the bank. It's definitely coming in handy.
Obviously, Michael was lucky. Most victims, like Carol Browning in Alabama, discover that once you wire money, it's all but impossible to get it back. And with the sagging economy creating new targets for the job scam every day, the FBI says everyone should be on guard.
We've seen people who are highly educated who have been victimized by these types of scams.
So from plumbers to professors?
There's nobody who's immune from it.
Do you see, when you put the 3 episodes together, particularly watching this last episode, you might have some ideas what's happening and how complicated the story is, right? So the woman who helped send out the check is actually used by the scammer as a gesture of justifying their money stolen from someone else's account. They could not just put it in their own account. That way, computer could indicate all of a sudden there is a transfer between money from this account to that account, right? So what they need is, they need someone to write a check to the person who owns the account, who wants to steal the money to, and write the check exactly based on the bandwidth to it comes up. So they need to send out the check. The action itself is nothing. It's just a proof that there is some legitimate evidence that there is a check to this particular person's account, so his account is going to be increased by this amount. Who cares if you lost the money, right? So when you keep on sending those checks, it's actually the hacker behind the scene, stealing money from one account to the other account, across the bank. And the woman's job is helping the thieves to justify the transfer of money with those fake checks. But for the bank, it's perfect because there's a check, he has the money, oh, we can do everything in terms of accounting. Good. This is only a small part of the picture. But the interesting thing towards the very last episode is the young man, a college student from Arizona State University, he thought he got a good job and he lost his money, right? To the scam, the same scam, but it happens that data investigators are there, caught another lady. This is 1 in 1,000 chance that the lady received the money, and when she received the money, she's supposed to wire it to another account too. This is very smart. What did she do? Am I doing this kind of scam? Please tell me. And when the scammer heard that, he's yelling at her, send the money. I'm not call the FBI. The woman say, no. So do you see the interesting story here? Information fraud. Now this is the kind of thing we learn in class. All right, do you understand a little bit about the story? Can you get it? Okay, you still don't get it. Discuss about it. I'll give you 5 minutes and then you ask questions. I will not answer all your questions, but based on the information here, this is so much you can understand. Do you understand in terms of information? Jacqueline, Michael, do you understand a little bit? No? Okay. What do you don't understand? Think about it. Discuss first, okay? Think about it. Discuss first. Ask a question, okay? Ask a question first. What you cannot understand, turn it into a question. I can get some answer for you, okay? So let's do about 10 minutes discussions on the table, 5 minutes on your own, and then 5 minutes across the table. It's a very interesting story. Yes, go back. Power in. Oh, yes, go back to power here. It's very exciting when we come to the end segment and contract and many things. Do you have any questions? If you don't understand something, ask questions. Try to turn that into a question. Yes, that's right. In the first half, sandbox system is 100% secure. Using sandbox system to open some software, for example, maybe sandbox means it's a platform for us to explore something. That means even though the whole system is screwed up, there's no part beyond the sandbox. So it's okay to save the environment, but don't try anything called malware. Okay, that means those spyware or hacking something. The sandbox cannot hack. That's why we learn at the lab. We cannot simulate installing malware in the computer and then create it. It will spread. It will spread.
Because like I always use Java for my sometimes you receive some email. For example, like one email I'm from Senegal. From Senegal, and my name is Kim or so there's some money in the and if you want, you can just send me your bank account details. I can transfer the money and then I can go and start new life.
So that means
just send some pictures. Yeah. So I have some friends from
the Nigerian scam, very famous scam, and it's well understood.
I think they're expert. So I asked my friend said, no, I just come back from West Africa. So like, Senegal is a peaceful, there is no war there. So I asked my friend said, no, that's how the negative people, they try to steal or try to steal people's money around the world. And then, but that's happening commonly.
You imagine the Nigerian scale. Actually, I got the Nigerian scale in the notes point over there. You understand the Nigerian scale? That's very interesting. So try to ask them a question. What do you not be able to understand? What is that?
Which account is due?
It does not matter. Any account in the bank, okay, or in different banks, as long as the hacker could hack into the system, they can steal any account, okay? But the point is, they want to make it in such a way that when they receive the money in their own account, they will not be suspected, and it's a legitimate transfer, okay? If I just steal money from your account, put it in my account, the computer can easily see that. So what they need to do is when they steal the money from one account, they do it in such a way that someone has actually written a check for someone to withdraw money from that account they stole. Okay? That is a legitimate action. So the reduction of some money from one account because of the check. So if I steal money from account A, it is not that I just open account A and took $500. No, they create a check written by the owner of that account which I'm going to steal, and write a check out with $500 to anybody. Okay? So anybody who received this check can go to the bank and cash $500, and that $500 will be deducted from the account A, which I'm going to steal. Okay? And then the cash that is obtained from the bank will be in the hands of anybody. The woman is one of this. Okay? The woman is going to take that money and wire that money to a bank account of the hacker, okay, or to someone else. Sometimes a couple of steps, and by doing that, the hacker could steal money from any account without any traces because there is a check coming in to cash money, and there is someone in between to transfer that money out of that account and then put it into another account. The question is, how could that be possible, easily done? You make questions about this. And how could the hacker be sure the money could actually jump from one account to the other account? That's why he needs a lot of persons to do this kind of fake check cashing and then money wiring. And it's a very interesting sophistication. That's why in the very last episode, the young college student's money was stolen as if he has voluntarily given up his money and understood that he got scammed. So he actually lost hope that he couldn't get back his money. But the exact amount of money was in the hand of the lady. Okay? And the lady suddenly, because of the news reporter's investigations, she knows that this might be a scam money. But she does not know whose money is this, but the reporter knows because he's dealing with the story for some time. And then instead of wiring the money to the scammer, the woman say, no, I'm not, unless I know that it's not a scam. So the scammer just say, hey, what's wrong with you? Wire the money to me. So the scammer was scammed.
So,
yeah.
The hacker.
Yeah.
Isn't it already broken law and the FBI can absolutely can arrest him?
In a sense, it's not weird in this case, because he's trying to trick people using app, okay, using a job app, and then using money to fish for more money. And in the process of doing that is a kind of social engineering, okay. He's trying to do money transfer in such a way that some of these actions should have been classified as criminal offense, definitely. If not, they will not investigate. But the way it's being done is very sophisticated. Sometimes even it is reported to police, FBI cannot trace it. But the interesting thing about this report is the reporter traced through all these. They have sources and they analyze the data, open linked data. We discuss. Watching the game is very interesting, it's very sophisticated, but I believe when we learn more about this kind of stories, we'll become more intelligent, more learned, and more observant of things like this happening. Sometimes it's polished or packaged as just looking for a job. Okay? Your job is to do money transfer. Money transfer to get paid, SOP to get paid, but you are being used as part of the scam without understanding the whole picture. Right? So it's very interesting.
And how about witness? I mean,
well, a lot of things like this, as you can see, that the background information in the United States economy is not good. A lot of people got laid off, and they want to get a job to earn money. And they always on the search for a part-time job, a full-time job, and they spot something like this, they will try. When you have a need for your family, you will try. And because of that urge to look for a job to earn income, a lot of people fell victim to this kind of scams. And so the more we learn of stories of this kind, the more we need to tell us. We need to keep alert. Okay? So there's no free lunch.
So it's better to do the to use the manual system.
Well, no, even in the manual system, the same kind of scam will happen. But we have to educate ourselves. Be very observant of the news around it. So in an open society, when stories of these are well reported, we become aware. But in a closed society, when there is no reporting of this kind of now, the good things about a developed society, not Hong Kong, Singapore, etc. The monitoring system of money transfer, it's very sensitive, very accurate. Well, this happened because back in 2006, one of our CEOs was arrested because in Hong Kong, it trades a large amount of money was being transferred to the The system was sick. And when the system was sick, though, ICAC is going to look at it. Now, in another area where there is no such tracking system, it becomes very, very dangerous. Now, look, this is the United States of America. We have a very sophisticated monitoring system, and still is from this kind of country that we discover scams of this kind. So you can see that. And in fact, actually, businessmen are looking for new ways in the jurisdiction system to earn more money. So a lot of the big companies cross-country corporations will set up their headquarters not in those big towns, but in some remote island in Bermuda, because they do not need to pay a lot of tax. But it's legitimate for people to do that. Okay? For a big company to do that. But it's also because of that, the scammer normally are very intelligent, professional people. And we want to set up scams like this to drink money and do it. And that's why you have money, you want to invest into some kind of stocks or whatever, bonds or funds. You have to be very careful. A very good lesson a couple of years ago is about Lehman Brothers. Took a lot of people. The mini bonds, another scam, just a scam. There's a scam which is changing the US government, right? All right, I think let me take attendance first. Remember, you will have the submission links for letting contract number 2, starting from tomorrow, the 29th of March, and the submission period will be up to next Friday, April 4th. So, and you also need to be sure by the end of tomorrow, each pair send me your team pair information. So if you're from pair number one of the member use the Dr. One's Q&A hotline of this week, okay, week number 7, and write there your pairs, members detail, and your team pairs details, okay? I will send out a message to remind you. So I think it's better for you to use the remaining 10 or 20 minutes to discuss among yourself how we're going to form the teams, okay? It's very important. And then I'm going to take attendance. Very interesting topic for today, okay? So, Christine, thank you. Shannon, thank you. Amelia, thank you. Michael, yes. Jack, yes. Antonio, yes. Lucy is not here today. Ivy is not here today. Andy, yes. Thomas, yes. Angie is not. Leopard, thank you. And then Ian, yes. Julia, yes. Norman is not. Peter, yes. Thank you very much. So help yourself discuss among yourself to see which two pairs can be merged together to become your team. Oh, very good question. What exactly are you going to put in a wiki? Basically, a wiki is a medium where you can transfer your finished journals there, because in the wiki it's basically a pair, right? So in the wiki you create a page for you and also for your pair member. And inside your page, you can also divide your journal page, discussion summary page, report page, and blog page, because these are basically what you need to handle. And then outside of the individual space, you might want to put something like the meeting minutes and a pair proposal. Okay? That means you can use the wiki as a medium when the two of you could collaborate in writing the report that is the most important. Okay? You have the forum for discussions already. At the end of the discussion, you extract the summary from the discussion, put it in the wiki, and compile your report together. Because in your report, you need to contribute to one topic and your pair member to another topic. Okay? And compile the report following the guideline just like the first learning contract. Okay? So, because in the first learning contract, you need to share the Microsoft Word file. This time, you do it in the wiki first, at the very last moment, you copy and paste into the Microsoft Word file. Everybody got the same. Do you understand the meaning of that? So one step further of online collaborations. That's the purpose of the wiki. Okay. You do not need to submit the wiki. The wiki carries the detail of collaborations. Use the wiki. Okay, actually I did it already, but let me do it one more time. Which pair is yours? Pair number 5, okay. So let's go to pair number 5 on week number 7. So this is the wiki. So if this is the learning contract, let me select pair number 5, okay. So remember when you create the first front page, you must select HTML and create a page. Here we go. So this is the learning contract number 2 page I created for you already. Alright, so if I don't like this, okay, let me just delete them. Alright, so let me say, let me delete all of these. And let me say this is CISG113, section 1. Here, 05, okay? So if I want to create one page for you, Thomas, I put Thomas' name inside 2 pairs of square brackets. Okay? Say another person's name is Antonio. Okay? Antonio. So I put Antonio here. And then I put pair proposal here. Because these are shared. And I also put meeting minutes here. Okay? You should have 3 meeting minutes. Now when I save this, okay, you can see that you have 1, 2, 3, 4 links ready. Each one of these links turn red, that means it's ready to become a page. In order to make it as a page, you click on say comments, again HTML format, again pair 05, and the name of this page is comments, so I click create. Now this is comments page, okay? Let me just say this is my page. Comments, okay, or my space, it's okay. So for comments, you have online journal, you have online discussions, details, you have reporting by topic, you have writing my blog, okay? So in this way, I save it. So under comments, you have space to carry your online journal, space to carry your online discussion details, space to carry your reporting my topic, and then you follow my guideline, you just copy my guidelines link, and then you have all the individual sections of the report. Okay? So this is a medium for you to manage your work, for your partner to manage your work. You can always go back. How do you go back? Click map. When you click the map, you see you can go to comments, you can go to learning content 2 because other links have not been created. So you go back to learning content 2, you select this one, copy, you come back to edit your page, this is Thomas' page, and then you need to have a return. Remember, page means Ctrl V, and then you save this. Now under Thomas' page, you have a return link. When you click on this return link, you come back to this front page. Now Thomas' page has been created, so you see it turn blue. If it's just a link without a page, it's still red. Okay? So, do you understand how to do that? Follow it, just a couple of steps. Remember, if you want to create a page, put the name of that page inside 2 pairs of square brackets. That's the only thing you need to learn. Very simple. Okay? Okay? Very good. Now, make sure you send me a message using week number 7's Dr. Matt's Q&A hotline for week number 7. Here, each pair send me on behalf of your pair, okay? On behalf of your pair. If your pair is pair 01, then use your pair identity. Put in your pair's members detail, name, student ID, and your team members pairs detail. Okay? I should be able to see that. Now, since we have only 7 pairs, that means one team might contain 3 pairs. Okay? Because if 2 pairs per team, we have 6 pairs. With 1 pair left, we want to put it into one of the 3 teams. Okay? So that is a much better thing to do in your problem-based learning. Okay? So make sure you send me your team pairs information before the end of tomorrow. Okay? someone else clothes. It's very. You belong? Okay. If you do not know which pair you belong, okay, by default, you do not need to select because by default you're already in your pair. But in case you forget, go to week number 3. Week number 3. Under week number 3, you have a student parent information method here. Week number 3, okay? And here you see your name and connected with a specific pair, okay? Your name with a specific pair number. Alright? But don't worry, when you go to Dr. Vet's Q&A online, you can only see 2 links. One is your personal link, the other is your pair link. And you select the pair link to give me a message. Okay? Thank you very much for coming. I know it's a Friday evening. It's so good to see many of you here. Try hard. Okay? 1 week left. For learning contract number 2. Oh, remember, next week we will step into learning contract number 3. Problem-based learning. That's why you need to have a team identity. Okay? So thank you, Julia. That's it for today. CISG 113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy, for day number 13 in week number 7.